Reaching you live from the nation's capital, this is the 6th edition on News Central TV. I'm Neo Taegbe. Our top stories. Water, sanitation top the agenda as African leaders converge in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. INEC releases timetable for the 2027 elections. NSCDC to deploy 4,000 personnel for the FCT Council elections. We'll bring you details in a moment. We begin in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, where the African Union Summit is currently underway. Leaders and heads of state from across the continent gathered there to discuss pressing issues affecting Africa. This year's summit is notable as it includes a high-level presidential breakfast meeting where key leaders will convene to deliberate on vital topics impacting the continent's future. On the 39th summit is themed Assuring Sustainable Water Availability and Safe Sanitation Systems to achieve the goals of Agenda 2063. This theme underscores Africa's commitment to clean water and a better economy for African citizens. In the meantime, Nigeria has clinched a permanent board seat on the African Central Bank following deliberations at the 39th session of the Executive Council of the African Union on February 13th. The decision was announced by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs after the meeting in Addis Ababa, where Nigeria also gained representation on the board of the Technical Convergence Committee of the African Monetary Institute, the body laying the groundwork for the eventual Continental Bank's launch. The development reflects Nigeria's economic significance and technical capacity in continental finance and its commitment to Africa's monetary integration agenda. The move is seen as a diplomatic milestone ahead of the 39th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government scheduled for February the 14th to the 15th. Our correspondent who is in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Bongani Siziba, will join us later. But in the meantime, I'm being joined in the studio by Uchenna Emelonye, a renowned human rights scholar and a former United Nations senior human rights advisor. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with this 39th ECOWAS summit, for instance. Exciting time, some will say. And Nigeria has, in this same meeting, has gotten to be put on the board of the African Central Bank, which is yet to be inaugurated. But in your opinion, what do you think? What has this summit been like?
The theme of the summit is on water and sanitation. And I would say that it took the continent this number of years to come to this realization that water and sanitation is a huge issue in the continent. A very huge issue, which if you cascade it down, is also a huge issue in Nigeria. So the essence of water and sanitation is a gendered topic because women bear the greatest brunt of water crisis anywhere in Africa, anywhere in our homes, anywhere in the continent. So the focus of this discussion should also be take us to the point of sanitation. And if you look at sanitation again, it's also gendered because women go through much difficult challenges in the water crisis due to sanitation, due to the way the body is composed. And as African states discuss this, the essence is not to look at it from the point of naming and shaming, but from the point of possibilities, that the water challenges in Africa can be rectified.
But because I was going to say this, Africa is filled with a lot of water bodies, and one would think that if I have a stream at the back of my house, I should definitely have water. I could channel that into, but we find that in many African countries, in many African states, homes are have their taps dry. Is it a question of availability or a question of vision?
It's more a question of governance than the question of availability, which is infrastructure. Water is not just an infrastructure challenge. Water is a right issue. And until government begins to look at water from the point of governance, that this challenge will persist. I mean, you've studied very well. We have abundant water resources beneath the earth. But do we have water everywhere in Africa? Absolutely no. The question that will be asked that will drive it home is how many Nigerians took their bath today with water in the bucket, or took their bath from a shower. The impact is real, and this impact can only be driven from the point of a reform-mindedness on the part of the government. It is not rocket science. It's not too expensive. This is one of the reforms that could immediately happen. I mean, today we are building Abuja and building other cities without the basic water reticulation that was the case 20 years ago.
Let me just bring you pointed out, and there was a question that was nagging at my heart. In the course of our coverage for ahead of council polls coming up on the 21st of February, we went to all the area councils. We had correspondents visit all of the area councils, and it was as if there was basically one thread running through all of the area councils, and it had to do with water, pipe-borne water. Almost everyone we spoke to, they will talk about other issues, but they would all of them end up in not enough water. And you have said it's a question of governance. It's a rights issue, but now you have said it's a question of governance. Is it that the government are not thinking that this is important to even look at?
Then because citizens are substituting the role of the government by digging boreholes.
And that's not good for the earth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the government is trying to wish this responsibility to citizens. But even though citizens are doing it, how many citizens can afford to do it? The percentage is minimal. So even though we have boreholes in all it's almost an infrastructure in every building in Abuja. But there are lots of Nigerians who are not able to sink boreholes in their homes. And these are the people that we're advocating for.
Just before we let you go, yes, the theme is water and sanitation. But there's also that bit about the future, building a better future for African citizens. Africa more or less has different issues plaguing it. We have the question of leadership and governance, where we have some countries that have had coups taking place. So democratic governance is not in those countries. But the matter of security is a major one that cuts across almost all the regions of the African continent. Would you say that this is something that the AU can begin to look at how to get it sorted once and for all?
Yes, I would agree that security is a key issue in the continent. But water is also a trigger of insecurity in the continent. So it's not just security. There are enablers to insecurity in the continent, and water is key. Is one of them. The resource competition on water is very acute, particularly in conflict-prone regions in Africa and also in Nigeria.
Oh, we want to say thank you so much for coming in today. Professor Uchenna Emelonye, a renowned human rights scholar and former United Nations Senior Human Rights Advisor. Thank you for coming in today. I look forward to having you in.
Bye-bye.
Now to election matters. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Joash Amupitan, has announced February the 20th, 2027 as the date set aside for Nigeria's next presidential election. The announcement was made in Abuja as the electoral body unveiled a comprehensive timetable and schedule of activities leading up to the 2027 general elections. The commission says the early release of the timetable is aimed at giving political parties, stakeholders, and voters adequate time to prepare, while also prompting transparency and credibility in the electoral process.
Presidential and National Assembly election will come on the 20th February 2027. 2. Governorship and State Houses of Assembly will be 6th March 2027. The detailed timetable and schedule of activities have been uploaded to the Commission's website. Therefore, in exercise of the powers conferred on the Commission by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, and the Electoral Act of 2022, and all other powers enabling it in that behalf, the Commission hereby sets in motion the electoral process for the 2027 general election. As we commence this important national exercise, I assure Nigerians that the Commission is fully prepared and determined to deliver election that reflects the sovereign will of the people. On behalf of the Commission, I hereby formally release the notice of election and the timetable and schedule of activities for the 2027 general election.
The National Assembly has once again come under scrutiny as the civil society group in Abuja has thrown its weight behind calls for compulsory electronic transmission of election results during the upcoming general elections. Now, this is happening even as the INEC has released its own timelines. The group, also known as Rescue Nigeria Alliance, made this known while speaking to newsmen. The chairman of the group, Basil Nwolisa, says the alliance will converge at the National Assembly headquarters for a peaceful protest on February the 16th to press home their demands to the Senate.
Under this amendment, lawmakers have reduced the timeline for an INEC to publish a notice of election from 360 days to 180, yet refuse to strengthen the most critical safeguard, the compulsory real-time upload of polling unit results to the official portal.
Very well.
Instead, they have chosen to retain a weaker discretionary provision on the electronic transfer of results. Nigeria did not ask for ambiguity. Nigeria asked for enforceable real-time transparency that shuts the door against the manipulation during manual collation.
Our aim is to see that Nigeria democracy works. And what we have currently, the suppression of transparency by the National Assembly, a body that is expected to project democracy in good light, we cannot sit back and watch that. So we'll explore all available avenues democratically to see that we challenge this rascality, this shenanigans that is holding Nigeria backward.
I'm now being joined to look at this whole matter, timetable, the timelines, and the Electoral Amendment Act by the Country Director of Action Aid, Mr. Andrew Mamedu. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So you've heard INEC release the timetable now. What do you think? Is it good? Is it the expected 20th February and then 10th of March for governorship and others?
Yeah, so as it stands now, the law requires that they release it now. So if they don't release it, we would probably be getting into constitutional crisis. We are aware that the National Assembly has two proposals. So the Senate and that of the House of Reps. So the Senate is saying 180 days and the House of Reps is leaving it at 360 days. Yeah. So until the conference committee, which starts sitting on Monday.
Yes.
So until they do that, so I think INEC is mandated
but you know
to work with what is currently existing.
The laws cannot be applied in retrospect. So should they now harmonize this law
and come up
with a reduced timeline, or as the case may be, do you think it can be made to apply in retrospect?
So definitely. So if they are able to pass the law and the president signs it, if they're able to harmonize and say they come up with, let's say, 180 days, and the president signs his own law, then of course they will withdraw this. The INEC will withdraw what they have right now, and we will then work with 180 days. But again, the best person to answer this question is INEC. But from all indications, from all our engagements with INEC, 180 days is tight. But for politicians, so there are two sides of this. So the politicians are thinking of the whole political process. It's very expensive for them to run the whole campaign and for this whole long 360 days. So once the an announcement is made, it's like everyone get ready, go. And they start spending party primaries, all of that. So all of those start happening. And the longer it takes, the more they spend. And
so if they know that it will take a long time, we're going to go on a quick break. But when we come back, this is one of the things you need to look at. If they know it will cost them more using 360 days, and now they are saying let's go for 180 days. Why wouldn't they have approved all of those recommendations of electronic voting and all of that so that they can cut down their own time and cost? I mean, if you go electronic, you don't need to print anything. Well, we'll take a moment and come back to continue this conversation with Mamedu. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Ahead of the National Assembly's harmonization meeting to adopt a final version of the amended Electoral Act, which would provide a workable document for the 2027 general elections, several civil society organizations have called on lawmakers to adopt the version passed by the House of Representatives. The groups comprising the Action Aid Nigeria and the Youth Initiative for Advocacy, Growth and Advancement are calling on lawmakers to adopt the version offering stronger safeguards against election manipulation and fraud, one that promotes transparency, protecting the integrity of the electoral process. They are urging Nigerians not to remain passive, but to actively engage their lawmakers as the final decision is being made, stressing that participation is a constitutional right and urging the citizens to hold their elected representatives accountable.
If it is in line with what the citizens want, and the citizens are, in this instance, they have the right to hire and fire, then that should be, we should be able to pass that law to enable them execute that right. If that does not happen and we get that of the Senate, or the third option is we even get nothing at all. So let's assume they even pass it and the president refuses to sign, which we do not expect. If Nigerians have said this is what they want, we expect that the president would graciously sign it into law. That of the House of Representatives, which is what we are pushing for.
Elections constitute the foundation for democratic governance, providing citizens the opportunity to freely choose their leaders and hold them accountable. The credibility of elections determines the legitimacy of governments and the stability of political democratic systems. Nigeria's electoral history, however, has been marked by widespread electoral malpractices, manipulation, and disputes, which have weakened public trust and undermined democratic consolidation. The expert meeting was organized as part of ongoing national efforts to strengthen Nigeria's electoral framework and ensure that electoral reform enhances transparency, accountability, and public confidence in democratic process.
So we saw you there, and now we see you here. But that matter, why we took that straight is just to cement what you had mentioned about the need, this thing starting on Monday, and the need for citizens to participate. But beyond this, in line with the citizens' participation, do you even think that the lawmakers, who say they are the representatives of the people, even listen to their own bosses, so to speak?
I think for a long time, Nigerians have given their representative that leeway to go this way, this direction they are right now. Are they listening? Yes, there are times that the lawmakers, Nigerians have come out, they've pushed, and of course the lawmakers, our government officials generally have listened. We've seen this repeatedly, even for the president. Having a rethink and turning some particular actions or policies that they've taken. And this is not different. However, Nigerians need to learn. We Nigerians are very, very forgiving. We find alternatives. So we find alternatives to everything. So if this is not working, what's the alternative? We find the alternative and we let government be. But we're beginning to see that consciousness beginning to rise gradually, where the consciousness comes up and we begin to ask our government questions. There is just the long-term solution to this. It's not about us just them deciding everything, what they want. If you allow that, humans are naturally selfish. The best of us is naturally selfish. Why would a Nigerian that is here in Nigeria not able to obey the laws? But once the person goes to other countries where the laws, the regulations are very strict and strong, they obey the laws. But the same way, if you get to people that are in those countries, they come to Nigeria and they start breaking the laws because humans are naturally selfish. They will find the easiest and the best way. So politicians are not executing or exhibiting anything different. So all we need to do is, how do we force the politicians? How do we get them to listen to us? We are the bosses. Nigerians are the bosses. The citizens are the bosses. It's a social contract. So when it comes to social contract, how do we make sure that they listen to the people? And there are several actions we can take. So things like this, for us, this is not just another bill, right? This is not just another amendment. This is at the core of our existence. This is at the core of citizens' engagement. So deciding who should be our president, who should be our governor, lawmaker across the country. So if that power is taken away from the people, we will keep having this routine in government, the kind of people we have in government. But if we have the power actually given to the people, then if you do not perform well, it's simple, you are fired. The citizens will then come and fire you. But what we see is you don't have the power to hire and fire. And the government officials, the elected officials, they do what they want. And at the end of the day, they know that the results can be manipulated in their favor. But we're trying to remove that power and give it squarely to where it belongs, to the people.
All right, thank you so much. Andrew Mamedu is a country director, Action Aid. Thank you for coming in this evening.
Thanks for having me.
Still talking a bit of politics, the leadership tussle within the Labour Party has taken a fresh legal and security dimension as the Julius Abure faction formally petitioned the Inspector General of Police. The faction is accusing the FCT Police Command of bias and active complicity in the alleged forceful takeover of the party's national secretariat by the Nenadi Usman Caretaker Committee. Addressing journalists in Abuja, the deputy national chairman of the Abure faction, Ayo Olorunfemi, claims that the police officers barricaded the premises to prevent the legitimate officers from accessing their offices while providing cover for the rival faction to conduct a press conference. The faction is now calling on the IGP to restore neutrality and investigate the alleged invasion of the premises.
Police officers from area command, life camp, barricaded the entrance gate and prevented our national chairman, national secretary, and some other national officers from entering their offices. The police officers, however, were permitting the persons from a list in their possession, who the police officer insisted were the only persons permitted to access their offices, including the Abia State Deputy Governor, Ikechukwu Emetu, and Senator Nenadi Usman. What they did was self-help by coming to say that they are taking over our office when there was no court order to enter the office. How can any reasonable person be talking about breaking in? Do you break into what you already have? The document in that office that belongs to us, not their own. They are mere impostors and usurpers.
And I'm being joined by Kennedy Ahanotu, Deputy National Youth Leader of the Labour Party. Say?
National Youth Leader.
Oh, now National Youth Leader. Okay. Kennedy Ahanotu, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
So a lot of Nigerians out there are concerned. I mean, those who looked to the Labour Party as the alternative in 2023 are concerned about this back and forth going on in the Labour Party. What's going on?
Well, thank you. Good evening, Nigerians. My brother, what is going on is that certain individuals actually want to practice what they have learned from the established political parties like the APC, PDP, in Labour Party. And some of us in the Labour Party said, no, we will not allow individuals to hijack the party structure. The party have to be run like an institution. Of course, it's an institutional political party that has to be sustainable. People should grow in the ranks. That will consolidate the gains of democracy and of the gains of that institution. So the people that are elected under the platform felt that they should now become the Lord and personal savior of the party. And some of us that are moderate politicians said, no, the Labour Party has to be on track. It has to remain, it doesn't have to depart from the ideas of the founders of the party.
Okay, so we know that your party has been in court. The last court judgment that was given, what did that court judgment say?
The last court judgment was so clear, and those that knows the law knows what the judgment said. He said that no court in Nigeria has the right, has the power, has the audacity whatsoever to declare a leader of a political party. Of course, my brother, you know that if you allow court to begin to decide the leaders of political parties, because political parties are democracies on its own. They are like a country inside a country, because a political party can run a government of a nation. So if you hand it over to the court, it will be easy for, the government in power to manipulate their leadership. So that was why Supreme Court said that this is an area that even angels dare to tread. Therefore, nobody should venture into political party leadership. Rather, the political parties should look into their party constitutions and be able to...
Hold on. Let's not go too far. So that Supreme Court judgment about leadership being an internal party thing was April 2005.
Yes, April 4th.
April 4th, 2025. Okay. But then the court ordered the recent January here, the Federal High Court in Abuja asked that INEC recognize the leadership of Ms. Usman of the Caretaker Committee. Why are people going contrary to what the court says? Why are people calling them an illegal body?
They are an illegal body.
How are they an illegal body?
Yes, because Nenadi Usman is not known to Labour Party Constitution. Bringing him from a stakeholder that is not in the party constitution is different from what the Supreme Court said. So if you must establish a caretaker committee or any standing committee, you must be...
So why are you guys not obeying the court order while pursuing this other matter?
I don't understand why we are not obeying it. We have complied. INEC have complied. We are on appeal. But what is happening is that when you are on appeal and you serve a notice of stay, it's expected that both the victorious party and the party that was said to have lost, everybody will remain, status quo will remain. But these guys, because of the influence of the Abia people's money, they felt that they can muzzle us. We are moderate politicians. We've not stolen fund anywhere. We've not stolen money from any government facility. We've not managed government fund before. So he felt...
Are you making an allegation here?
I'm not making an allegation. I'm making a statement of fact. The majority of Nigerian politicians, okay, look at what is happening in EFCC. The moment they come out of the government, they are going to EFCC. How many of us have answered EFCC? So it has been repeated in Nigeria that the moment a governor finishes, he has a EFCC case to answer. So the court have declared, and we have gone on appeal. They are expected to wait and hold on. And remember that this judgment that they are celebrating and they are trying to enforce was the same judgment that Abuja got at the High Court in Abuja. And they say, no, court does not have jurisdiction to declare. Why are they now coming to implement the 7 pages judgment? Having 5 plaintiffs, 7 pages judgment. If this judgment is allowed to stand in Nigeria, it is going to cause very big damage to the legal practice in Nigeria. In all honesty, if this judgment of the High Court is allowed to stand.
But you say you're in appeal now.
We have uncle. That's what I'm telling you, that it cannot stand.
From the other
it cannot stand.
We'll wait and see. But thank you so much, Kennedy Ahano, to National Youth Leader, Labour Party, under the Abure leadership.
Labour Party is Labour Party.
Okay.
And no other convention.
Thank you for coming in this evening. We wish you guys well.
Thank you so much.
As you head out to the front. While still talking politics, the Federal Capital Territory Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps says it will deploy about 4,000 personnel across the 6 area councils for the upcoming February 21st polls. A commandant of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, FCC Command Olushola Odumosu, gave the assurance while receiving a delegation from the National Peace Committee at the command headquarters in Abuja. Odumosu, while assuring citizens of adequate protection before, during, and after the elections, says the covert operatives will be assigned to identify flashpoints in order to prevent intimidation, harassment, or interference of voters by political thugs. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll be looking at the matter of waste disposal in the FCT. Do stay with us. Residents of Cairo are welcoming the cleanup efforts instituted following a directive by the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike to the Satellite Towns Development Department of the FCTA to immediately evacuate the heaps of refuse that are piled up and spilled onto major roads. A directive follows growing concerns about environmental hazards, health risk, blocked drainage systems, and traffic disruptions caused by the waste. While the interventions are appreciated, residents are calling for sustained monitoring and improved waste disposal systems to prevent a recurrence.
We really do appreciate their efforts by starting off something like this, and yeah, we appreciate. So, but I am of the opinion, that this thing should not just stop. You know, sometimes that's how they do. They just come around and then just do just the top layer of the work and then leave the core work there down there. So we will really appreciate if they can pack everything.
If you look around, we see there is still much dustbin. And if the government will help maybe in terms of removing or find a possible way to stop the dumping of the dustbin here, that would be a solution. If they can remove the dustbin totally from here, maybe bring Electoral to fill it up, then put a ban.
Since here is a public place and there is houses, people living around here, and there are business people, so they have to be packing it frequently, and either before they start or after they finished, they have to find some chemical, because if they pack this thing, it will reach like 5 days. It will be smelling. It will be smelling and is disturbing people around here. So people that are doing business, they have to stay. And people that patronize them, they cannot stay.
The Minister of Works, David Umahi, is concerned about what he says is the rampant and ongoing vandalization of key infrastructure across the country. Speaking at the press conference in Abuja, the minister says the damage poses a serious threat to the durability of Nigeria's roads and bridge infrastructure. He called on all Nigerians to take collective responsibility for safeguarding public assets and that its protection is essential to national development and economic growth.
The green the barbed wire we put to expose the beauty of the coastal roads in a number of sections are being caught and taken by people. You look at Second Niger Bridge, you look at even Jeba, and many other places where they go to remove the expansion joints. In Mutala Mohammed, the same thing. Expansion joint of bridges go to melt it. Take a look at the project everybody's talking about, Abuja, Kaduna, Zaria, and just go and look at the mega concrete barriers. People are destroying it, looking for tiny reinforcements. The illegalities have a lot of consequences for our infrastructure. Just about 2 weeks back, we caught people, and that's the second time we are catching people, removing the cat eyes, electrical devices on top of the bridge.
The House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee investigating the performance and benefits accruing to the federal government from concessionaires operating at airports and seaport terminals, as well as related shipping activities from 2006 to 2025, has given the relevant agencies, stakeholders, and concessionaires a 7-day ultimatum to submit all requested documents. The chairman of the committee, Kolawole Akinlayo, issued the directive during a public hearing in Abuja, attended by key stakeholders, including the Nigeria Customs Service, the Nigeria Ports Authority, and the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, among others.
This is not a vision committee. We are not here to vision to anybody. We are here to work for the benefit of Nigerians. And we are very serious about it. So asking for submission is helping you out of this quagmire, because if it happens, it's found on your head. So it's none of my business. But you must give us the document that is requested of you. And we attach a data to that document. Yeah, there's a template. We don't need plenty gala must go. We have a template attached to it. So just follow that template and make the submission. It's as simple as that. So giving you 72 hours, I know what I'm saying, because we've already helped you halfway. So it's just the rest is you need to help yourself and do the needful.
Most of you that are here saying that have not listened to that agreement. Most of you that are here are not signatories to the agreement. You have not even seen it. And you're here just talking and talking and talking. Speaking to what you don't know.
Ibada Elume Primary Health Care Center in Sapele local government area of Delta State was closed in October 2024 after miscreants broke in, making away with valuable belongings to staff and leaving them in fear. The facility has now reopened with improved security following News Central's report in January 2025. Our correspondent Austin Azu, who revisited the facility, brings us this report.
Ibada Elome community is one of the rural communities in Sapele local government area of Delta State, where residents continue to lament over the lack of government presence in terms of infrastructural development. In October 2024, Ibada Elome community's primary healthcare center was shut down after an incident where alleged miscreants broke in and caused mayhem.
I came home one day to hear that the nurses that work here, for which some of them are actually my members, that they have packed. They no longer work here, that whether thieves or burglars came here someday, whether in the night or so, and made away with all their phones. And for that reason, they have decided not to work again, that they are going to live until the community restore their phones.
For more than 3 months, the community lacked basic healthcare services, forcing many to seek medical attention elsewhere. The facility was reopened after News Central drew public attention to it with a report issued out in January 2025.
Thank you, News Central, for your intervention and what you did to actually make these people come back for us.
A year later, News Central's crew returns to find the once dilapidated health facility transformed with a new perimeter fence, solar panels, and renovated blocks to improve service delivery.
Before now, there is a leakage everywhere. No good. It's a dilapidated structure. Let me put it that way. The nurses, during rainy season, they cannot work because of the leakage. And today now, we have a fine, standing PHC.
Governor has remembered about the PHC. As you can see, everywhere is shining. There's light, 24-hour lights, solar lights. The building has changed. They have paint everywhere. The surrounding is clean. We have somebody sweeping it. We have security.
News Central, I want to thank them. They are the one that really shine. They are the root to everything that is happening here now. If they did not do the report, these things wouldn't have happened. I want to thank them so much, and I want to beg them they should keep up doing their good work.
The health workers here are only asking for more for the governor to continue his good work in ensuring that they are able to complete the ongoing projects and make this place more conducive for them to give their best to the people of Ibada Elome and neighboring communities. In Delta, for News Central, Austin Azu.
We'll go on another break. When we return, we'll be looking at World Radio Day, how are broadcasters coping? Details in a moment. With the celebration of the World Radio Day 2026, attention is turning to the evolving role of artificial intelligence in broadcasting. This year's theme, Radio and Artificial Intelligence, highlights how AI is transforming content production and distribution while reinforcing the message that technology should support and not replace human creativity and ethical journalism. News Central's lead correspondent Bernard Akede visited a radio station in Lagos to see how broadcasters are adapting to this new era.
For decades, radio has remained one of the most trusted and accessible forms of communication, connecting communities, shaping conversations, and amplifying voices across generations. But as artificial intelligence continues to reshape the media landscape, radio broadcasters are now exploring how technology can enhance storytelling without losing the human touch. At Cool, Wazobia, and Nigeria Info FM, presenters and producers say they are embracing innovation while staying true to the core principles of journalism: authenticity, accuracy, and human connection.
Talking about AI, because we are already used to revolutionary technological transformation.
it wasn't very difficult for us to make the leap. In my organization, even though we are radio, we're also digital first. We are more than digital first, actually. We are social first now, which is a big leap for a radio brand. So in our group, we have an army of young stars where we make sure we channel everything, apart from the fact that the bulk of our broadcasts is adapted for digital media.
From automated scheduling and voice editing to audience analytics, AI can help radio teams work more efficiently while freeing journalists to focus on storytelling and community engagement.
AI has to do a comparative, you have to kind of assist. I won't say we've not been using it, but the issue is that it assists the news anchor and the news producer to actually cross-check some facts, and then I won't say we use it to generate news. We don't, but we use it to actually check or to fact-check some news item that we'll have.
For on-air personalities, the rise of artificial intelligence presents both opportunity and responsibility, ensuring that technology enhances rather than erodes the authenticity listeners expect, although some are largely skeptical about AI and where it's going.
From where I sit, from what I do, AI can only make it better or enhance it. You know, if you take them away completely, that if you be know what you they do, all right? So I believe that they can actually work. They feel work. They go just this hand will help this hand, all right? So just be like say AI they come take them away or make except say one originality.
Nowadays, especially in the age of content creation that we are in, people lean towards things that are relatable. If it's not, I don't know if AI is going to get to that point where it will become so developed that it will be relatable and we can feel, but it can never be. Even when I use AI, sometimes I feel like maybe it's my prompt, but it doesn't sound intelligent enough for me.
I'm still that person who'd rather wash his clothes with hands than put them in the washing machine. The world will probably be better off without AI than we have now, because it takes the initiative from people. Why would I want to use AI to prepare my script? I have a lot of things in my head, and it's originality that pays in this job. You know that.
With this year's slogan, AI is a tool, not a voice, broadcasters are being reminded that ethical decision-making, empathy, and creativity remain uniquely human strengths. As the industry evolves, radio professionals say the future lies not in replacing voices, but in empowering them through responsible innovation. In Lagos for News Central, Bernard Akede.
Morocco has announced a $330 million aid package after devastating floods submerged 110,000 hectares of farmland. The provinces of Larache, Kenitra, Sidi Kassem, and Sidi Slimani are now designated disaster zones. King Mohammed VI says the funds will repair infrastructure, rehouse 188,000 displaced people, and compensate farmers. The Agricultural Recovery Plan focuses on red fruit, vegetables, and livestock in the vital Garb and Lucas basins. South Africa is deploying its military to help combat rising crime and gang violence. President Cyril Ramaphosa announced that the army will work alongside police in a renewed effort to curb escalating violence across the country. South Africa records an average of about 60 murders a day, with many linked to gang wars in parts of Cape Town, as well as mass shootings connected to illegal mining operations in Gauteng. President Ramaphosa says he has instructed the police and military chiefs to urgently develop a deployment plan. Security forces are expected to be sent within days to hotspots in the Western Cape and Gauteng provinces to tackle gang activities and illegal mining. The Bangladesh Nationalist Party, BNP, has secured a historic two-thirds majority in parliamentary polls. The Election Commission confirmed the BNP alliance won 212 seats, decisively defeating the Jamaat-e-Islami alliance. A national referendum on democratic charter was also endorsed by 60% of voters, alongside 59.44% turnout. This victory of the people marks a major shift in Bangladesh's governance. Spokesman Mahdi Anin stated that the win ensures a free land where all citizens' rights are protected. The party now prepares to form a government, ending nearly 2 decades of political exile.
একে অপরের সাথে সুন্দর মিলেমিশে যে ভোটগুলো যেন প্রয়োগ করছে এমনকি কথাবার্তা আনন্দ উৎসবে ছিল তারা এটা আমি দেখছিলাম আর কোনো গ্যামজাম হয় নাই কোনো কারচুপি হয় নাই সুষ্ঠু নির্বাচনে সেটা আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি কার্যক্রম যেসব আশা নিয়ে মানুষের কাছে যে কথাগুলো বললো যে ভবিষ্যৎ কিভাবে
Candidates in Paris are intensifying campaigns ahead of municipal elections described by party leaders as historic for the future of the French capital. Contenders across major political blocs have stepped up outreach efforts, outlining proposals on housing, transport, security, and environmental policy as the voters prepare to head to the polls. Campaign teams held rallies and community engagements across key districts, urging the residents to participate in what they say will shape the city's next administrative cycle. Election officials have repeated the guidelines for the voting process and the timelines for result collation. The outcome is expected to influence the political balance within Paris and signal broader trends in France's local governance landscape.
C'est un tournant historique. Toutes les études et tous les sondages le montrent. Quand vous regardez, tous les Parisiens veulent l'alternance. Ils veulent un changement. Ils ne veulent plus de cette gauche. Et donc, moi, je le dis, si jamais on est dispersé, c'est la même équipe, mais en pire. Donc voilà.
Il y a eu un ou deux sondages qui montrent qu'au second tour, je suis le candidat qui peut gagner face à la majorité sortante. Et donc, je dis aux Parisiens, puisque vous voulez le changement, il faut le réussir. Et il faut le réussir avec le candidat qui peut rassembler le plus large. Donc au premier tour, si vous me donnez de la force, je poursuivrai ce rassemblement hors extrême et je permettrai à tous les Parisiens qui attendent le changement de se réunir autour de ma démarche et ma candidature.
And that's all on the 6th edition, but before we go, a look at our headlines. We told you that water and sanitation tops the agenda as African leaders converge on this Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. We also told you about INEC's release of a timeline for the 2027 elections, and that the NSCDC is to deploy about 4,000 personnel for the FCT Council elections. We'd like to hear from you. You may send your comments to the WhatsApp numbers showing on your screen. Do follow us on social media as well. On all the social media platforms, we are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Able TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. I'm Neota Ibi.